All right, what's up, everybody? This is Anthony with the Real Lives Collective, and right here I'm with Josh. How's your day going today, bro?
It's going beautiful, man. It's a beautiful weather. It's hard to
Yeah,
imagine here in Tennessee. This is a winter day, right? It's
yeah.
beautiful.
And if you guys can't tell, he is not from here. So where did you grow up originally?
Yeah, originally I'm born and raised in Australia. I moved here in 2009, and yeah, spent a lot of time in St. Louis, and just recently moved down here to good old Nashville.
How do you like it out here?
I love it here, man. It's beautiful. It's not as cold as St. Louis. St. Louis will always have a place in my heart.
Yeah.
That's where my kids were born, but I definitely am enjoying living here in Nashville.
So what was your childhood like growing up in Australia?
Very different to the way I live now. I feel like there's two chapters of my life, and two totally different chapters. I grew up on a farm. It was a 100-acre farm, and yeah, we had sugarcane, small crops like zucchini, stuff like that. And yeah, I grew up riding motorcycles and doing all that cool stuff that you do on a farm.
What kind of kid were you growing up? Were you like an athlete? Were you quiet? Or
Yeah, I'd like to say I was a good kid. I don't know if my mom might say it a little bit differently, but I definitely did know right from wrong. I loved sports growing up. I played soccer a lot. When I went to high school, I kind of branched out a little bit, and I actually got into rowing, which at the time wasn't a huge sport. Still, even now, it's one of those sort of niche sports. But very quickly, I found out that I had a bit of a knack for it, and kind of got all in and started competing. And yeah, I think around 15, 16 years old, I was like second in the country for my age. So it was pretty fun.
what made you get into rowing?
So funny story, my best friend at the time, he started rowing. His dad represented Australia at rowing, and he wanted a training partner. And so I was like, sure, why not? And very quickly I realized I was good, and we became competitive very quickly. And his dad was like, look, it's probably not great if I'm gonna coach you. And so my uncle, who also represented Australia, he took over, and yeah, kind of went on from there.
What city were you born in Australia?
A place called Bundaberg. So if you go to Walmart, Kroger, you go to the alcohol aisle and you see the non-alcoholics, there's a ginger beer there called Bundaberg Ginger Beer. That's my hometown. So it's a little country town, but also right off the Great Barrier Reef too. So very close to the ocean.
What are some special things about Australia?
Some special things about Australia. I miss the beaches. Beaches are definitely not overpopulated, and in 90% of the beaches that you go to. Where I grew up, one of the beaches I used to go to all the time, you could look up and down the beach and not see a person. It was the beach to yourself and white sand, beautiful blue water, and they say that everything in Australia wants to kill you, but I don't know. I can run away from a spider and most snakes. I think the bears over here are what kind of freaked me out a little bit.
What are some of the dangerous animals over there? You said some stuff.
Yeah, snakes. We have a lot of snakes. I think in the top 25 most deadliest snakes, I think we've got like 20 or 21, something crazy like that. We used to see them on the farm all the time, but you don't mess with them; they don't mess with you. So growing up with them, it didn't really bother me too much.
All right, let's switch it up a little bit. What are some of the hardships that you faced growing up in Australia?
I'd like to say I'm blessed that I don't have a story to say I had such a hardship. I had a really great childhood. I was very blessed in that regard. I didn't really have too much of that kind of bad thing kind of happen really until my dad passed away unexpectedly in 2014. So
Rest in peace.
yeah, thank you, appreciate that. So again, it wasn't really hardships. Growing up on the farm was tough. My parents, as I was a kid, they owned their own farm and they did everything themselves. So they definitely went through the hardships so that me and my sister were able to have such a great childhood.
What did you guys grow on the farm, and explain farm life to some people that don't know about farm life?
Yeah, so grew a lot of sugarcane. So that was pretty cool. Did a lot of sugarcane, zucchini, and then capsicum, which over here we call peppers. So we grew a lot of that as well. From a young age, I was out in the fields helping mum and dad, sometimes before school, mostly after school, and I kind of learned a lot doing that. You get to learn discipline, and I don't know, you learn a lot about yourself and about actually working and hard work and the rewards from that too.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
So I have a younger sister. She's 5 years younger than me. Yeah, and so all my family still lives over in Australia. The only family I have here are my kids.
All right. So what made you leave Australia?
Wild story.
We got time.
Yeah, man. So back in the days of MySpace, I was working in IT at the time, and in MySpace they used to have this little thing that was like cool new people, and this girl popped up and she had this green drink, and I was intrigued and I clicked on it, and she was from America, and I can't remember what I sent her. I just sent her something like, "Hey, cool, you're from America, and that we have this technology that I can say hi, and you're over the other side of the world." And we got talking, and over the months it became into like phone calls, very expensive phone calls, and then she would come and visit me for 6 months. I'd visit her for 6 months, and in 2009 decided that I would move over here and try and make something of it. So I did.
And for people who know, some of the younger cats out there, MySpace is just like Facebook, but I think it was a lot better.
It was so savage too. You have the top 6 friends, and they'd be changing. Yeah, and if you realize you weren't in the top 6 anymore, there would be a beef. But you also had the opportunity to have like a pretty cool like song to your profile, and all that cool stuff, man. It was a lot of. MySpace needs to come back, dude. It needs to make a comeback.
What was the hardest part of leaving Australia?
Definitely family. Even now, you get homesick. I don't have a choice. Not that I would go back and leave my kids. My kids are my everything. But yeah, I mean, leaving everyone. I brought just a suitcase over here when I was 25 years old, and it was wild, man. It was a pretty gutsy. It was a big leap, but it was also exciting. I've never been one to shy away from something that might be out of the ordinary or dare to dream kind of thing. So it was cool. I had to learn a lot of different things when I moved here too. We drive on the other side of the road over there, and the steering wheel's on the other side of the vehicle. So trying to just reconfigure that, and then little things like currency as well. Currency's a little bit different. So you got to learn the lingo. It's not a 25 cent, it's a quarter, and dimes and nickels and nicknames for things. It doesn't sound like a lot, but these are the little things you have to learn in everyday life. So
give me some slang or lingo from Australia that isn't used here.
There's a lot. With Australia though, a lot of it is naughty words, so I won't repeat them. I think more so we just have funny nicknames for things. So like your traffic cones, we call them witches' hats. The lady at the crossing, the kids crossing that has the sign stop and go or whatever. We used to call her a lollipop lady. There's all these random names that we have for things. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Give me some more examples. It's pretty funny.
Oh man, you put me on the spot now. I'll come up with them as they go, but they're the two that really stick out to me right now for sure.
Did you ever question like your decision about coming over to the United States?
Never, no. I see life as stepping stones, good and bad. Sometimes you learn from mistakes, sometimes you don't. I think the best way to learn anything is by trying it and failing. But I don't have any regrets at all, whether through a divorce. Every stepping stone that I've had has come towards you giving me the blessing of the children that I have. And I feel like if I changed even one little thing in my life before then, it could have changed that trajectory. And so, yeah, I would never change anything. I don't have any regrets.
So when you first moved to the United States, you didn't come to Tennessee. You went somewhere else, correct?
St. Louis. St. Louis, Missouri. Definitely wasn't because of the postcards. Although it was definitely a city that I fell in love with very quickly. Became a St. Louis Cards fan very quickly. And just everything about St. Louis. Obviously it gets a bad rap for violence and stuff, but you can go anywhere and find bad areas and neighborhoods. But on the whole, I still love St. Louis. It's always going to hold a place in my heart.
What was your first impression of going to St. Louis?
I think just in general, I think everything, as someone coming to America, you realize that a lot of things that you see in the movies are actually real, and things that Americans take for granted, like the blue, like the yellow school buses. Here it's just a normal thing you've seen, whatever. But as someone that's moved here from another country, yellow school buses or the school bus that comes down the road, you're like, it's just like the movies, and so everything kind of gets bigger from that. And I don't know, the first impressions was just, it definitely just felt like this is definitely America. This is definitely like the movies, and love it here.
So going off that, what do Americans do that Australians would find strange?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know about strange, but I think here in America, the consensus is really, you don't really know. I don't want to generalize, but the consensus from outside of America is that Americans don't spend a lot of time looking at stuff outside of America. But my rebuttal to that, because that was something that I kind of felt as well when I came here, was like, from the girl that I was talking to as well, just didn't know a lot about other countries or Australia or anything like that, other than the animals that want to kill you, and obviously Steve Irwin. But I think basically what it comes down to is just, I don't know. There's so many states in America, and one state in particular can rule the news with everything that happens in that one state. And then when you put all the states of America combined, the news is so full of things that are happening here in America that you don't really have the chance to kind of follow what's going on in the rest of the world. So I don't necessarily put that down to choice. I just think it's just something that, it's just in your face.
Is there anything that Americans do that drive you crazy?
Not really. I mean, I can, if I stood in a crowd of, 10 people from all over the world, Americans always stand out. That's not a bad thing, but I think it's Americans are very curious. They ask a lot of questions, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, but you can definitely tell.
Do you think that moving here changed you in any way?
It's hard to tell, because everything that I've done in my adult life that's been important, so to speak, has been done here in America. So, buying my first house, having kids, getting married, all of these big, milestones happened here. So,
what's something you miss from Australia that still hits you sometimes?
Oh, I'm always missing a meat pie. It's like a pot pie, but not. It's different, and it's hard to explain. But an Australian meat pie is just divine. I'll hook you up with one.
Yeah, I'm doing like a partial fast too, so it's like that sounds really, really good.
Yeah,
right
I try
now.
to make them for my kids sometimes, and when I do, I usually don't get seconds. They've already got into it. So,
is there like a kind of food in United States that you enjoy eating? You look forward to?
As you can tell, I do like a lot of food. I mean, American is, you can say American food is like hot dogs and burgers, but even here, there's so many different options. It's a melting pot of different cuisines, which is what I love about it. I wish healthier options were more readily available and not as exorbitantly overpriced than just the regular foods. But I mean, real food to manufactured food is also a big difference as well, and cost. So I understand that aspect. Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy a hot dog going to see a baseball game. So
All right, let's jump to another subject now. What is love to you?
what is love to me? Oh, that's a big one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love to me, there's so many different kinds of love. There's love that I have for my kids. There's love that I have for my family. And I know that kids are your family, but I do think that there's a little bit of a difference there as well. And then, with a significant other, I don't know, man. I think social media has really put a dampener in how relationships are these days. I think.
I agree with you 110% on that.
Yeah, it sucks. Being 41 and being single is wild. After I got out of my marriage and jumped into, because we were married 11 years together for 13 I think. Coming out of that and then realizing that online dating is the normal, the predominant way of meeting people. It's rough, dude. It's very, very shallow. It's hard to hold conversations. I'm very much I'd much rather have a conversation in person than over a text message or a chat. It's just so impersonal, and so you miss those cues that are in person. But then, at the same time, it's hard to meet people organically here as well. Usually you meet people through mutual friends, but when you fresh move to an area like this, you don't really know any people. It's hard to meet people organically as well. So love, I know I'm straying off a little bit, but love is,
okay, bro.
I don't know, man, love is, I see it as something that, when it hits you, and it usually hits you when you least expect it. And when you're trying to chase it, it just seems to evade you. And the best thing is, as hard as it is sometimes, is to not try to chase it, but just let it happen.
Yeah. You mentioned love for your kids. How many kids do you have right now?
So I have four. My oldest is 18. He's my adopted son from my ex-wife's first marriage. So I've been in his life since he was 2. So he's all I really knew. I'm all he really knew. I adopted him, and then we had three kids together as well. A 13-year-old boy, 11-year-old boy, and a 7-year-old princess. She's going on 17. So,
If any of your kids went on YouTube and watched this, what advice would you give them?
what advice would I give my kids? Probably the same advice that I would give myself, and that would be to just be yourself. And sometimes being yourself might seem lonely, or it might seem like the not cool thing to do. But in the end, staying true to yourself is always the most rewarding thing, because you'll always find your place in the world. And trying to conform to something or someone you're not, it just never makes you happy. I think being true to yourself is the truest way of finding happiness within.
If we're going to end it like this, if you could speak to your younger self, what advice would you give your younger self?
Yeah, probably just staying true to myself.
Yeah. People that are watching right now, give them something positive about today in your life.
I think in the scary world that we live in, I think we forget that 99% of us want the same thing, and that is just to be able to love one another and be able to, we may not always agree on everything. We may have our disagreements, just like family has disagreements. But I think the biggest thing that we could do is find a common ground that we can actually talk through, accept our differences, not judge each other, and just try to find the good in people and the good in the world, because there's a lot of good in the world, and we focus, the news focuses on all the bad. You never hear about the great stuff that's happening, and there is a lot of really good stuff that's happening. There's a lot of good people in this world, and I think if you listen to the news too much, or you stay stay on social media too much, you tend to lose track of that, and I'm guilty of that as well. I've constantly got to remind myself to take a step back and see the bigger picture. And yeah,
All right, bro. Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.